Hey, how's it going? Happy Friday. On the live stream today, I want to talk about uh, LLM traffic, which, there's been a lot of discussion about that, right? Huge theme over the past year. So not too surprising that I want to talk about it. But specifically, I want to talk about a couple of things. One is how to think about LLM traffic and why it's important to measure it and where it's coming from. So that's number one, and some sort of caveats and things to think about there. And then I also want to show you a really cool new feature in the Aircule app that helps you measure and understand LLM traffic. And the Aircule app is free. You hook it up to your Google Analytics and your Google Search Console, and it gives you lots of useful insight on what's going on into your library. And one of those new things now is information about LLM traffic. So let's just take like 2 minutes and talk about what we mean when we say LLM traffic. We know that people are searching in LLMs for things that they care about. They're asking ChatGPT to help solve their problems. We also know that people are doing that as part of the B2B buying process. There was a user evidence report that came out recently that talked about how I think something like 50 or 60% of B2B buyers are starting in a LLM to kind of get information about whatever they're looking for, whatever problems they're trying to solve. So obviously, super important channel. A lot of people have said that LLM search is still a tiny proportion of overall search traffic, and that's totally true. But there are a couple of important things that you need to know about LLM traffic. So one is that it tends to convert a lot better. When you are visible in LLM and then somebody clicks through to your site, they're much more likely to actually be in a stage in their buying process where they can convert. And what we typically see is conversion rates that are from that traffic of anywhere from 5 to 10x of what we might see from even organic search, which is already a pretty high propensity channel. So that's number one. And then number two is that you really want to be visible in LLMs. And by optimizing your visibility in LLMs, you also help your click traffic. So if you are watching this and you are a head of marketing, a VP, even a CMO, and you're thinking about this thing and how to measure it, it's very simple. It's a very small number, but it's a very high propensity number, and it seems like it's going up. And there are also lots of benefits to simply being visible in LLMs in addition to clicking through and getting, actually getting conversions from that traffic. Okay. So the next thing I want to show you today is some cool features in the Aircule app that you can connect to your Google Analytics and will help you get some of this data. If you haven't seen the Aircule app before, I'm going to do a little screen share here. And I'm going to share based on our own library here at Aircule. If you haven't seen the Aircule app before, it's a really great way to just quickly understand what's going on in your library, whether you have a small library or big library. It takes in all of your data from Google Analytics and Google Search Console, and it makes it really legible and easy and, dare I say, even pleasant to see what's going on. So this is the dashboard, and I'm going to show you some of the LLM specific features in a minute. And then there are lots of other tabs here that I will talk about, but one of them is the library tab, where you can very quickly see all of the content in your library and how it's doing and what your stars are and what your declining pages are and all that stuff. I can then click into any one of these to get some, okay, we're going to turn that around, but that is data on how this particular page is doing. I've got all the traffic data here. I've got overviews of where people go after they go here. I've got content overviews. I've got keyword performance in Google Search Console. So all of the information I would need about a specific page is in here. And then there are lots and lots of other features that I won't walk through today, but you can build topic reports to understand how you're doing on a specific topic. And then you can also build what we call custom collections. Custom collections are, think of collections in HubSpot that pull in data about how specific pages are doing. They can pull in new pages automatically. You can pick manual collections of pages, whatever it is. And then we give you some of these. So we give you your star content, your declining content, your lemon content that's not doing that well. All of that is in here. So it's like I said, it's an easy to use GA4 or SEMrush. Okay. So let's go back to LLM traffic. And I want to show you what this actually looks like. So here's our dashboard for Ércule, and we're working on content, we're producing it, we're trying experiments and investing and doing what we can to get information out there that would be useful to folks in our community and people we want to talk to. And there's 3 different tabs here. One of them is all traffic, another one is organic, another one is LLM traffic. I'm going to turn off all traffic. So you can see our organic traffic is kind of declining a bit, which is what's happened for a lot of people over the past year. Hasn't really had an effect for us on pipeline or anything like that, but it is a thing that is happening to a lot of folks. And then you can also see this little purple line here, which is the LLM traffic that we're getting. And that number is a fraction of the overall organic traffic number, but it is growing and it's really high intent. And there's a whole optimization visibility set back here about just being visible in LLMs that isn't reflected. So if I then turn off organic traffic, you're going to see what our LLM traffic looks like over time. And that's a pretty clear trend. Now, it may not continue forever, but that's what it looks like. And so if you're thinking about this from the perspective of running a content program or being responsible for its performance, this is really something that you want to keep an eye on and be aware of. And there's so many benefits to getting this number to go up in all of your other channels as well. So the other thing that we can do in the Ércule app is we can build collections. And what I actually built here is just a collection of all. So you can see I've got all LLM pages, dynamic collection type, and then where views over the past 3 months from an LLM is greater than 0. So that's what this collection is. And then I'm going to go back to pages, and you can see all the pages that are in here. And I can click into some specific pages, like let's say our homepage, and see, oh, okay, well, it's just a couple of views on the homepage. But there are some other pages that are doing much better, and those are all kind of showing up in here, and you can kind of see. And then in aggregate, what does that look like? Oh, it looks like that graph I showed you at the beginning with lots and lots of page views. So the other things that you want to look at are what pages are actually getting views from LLMs. And I'll go back to my overall view here so you can get a look at that, what that looks like. What pages are getting LLM traffic? Those are some, those are reflecting what LLMs know you for and what they're thinking about when they think about your brand. Hey, Bunny. That's what you want to think about. You want to think about citations also. So are you being cited in certain topics when people are asking about them? And last week I showed you an LLM visibility report that can be really helpful with that information. So citations and where we're being cited and are people clicking through to the site. And these are all important bits of information that you can get by looking at this data and then by digging a little bit deeper in the Ércule app. So a lot of folks are seeing LLM traffic go up, which is great. You want to be paying attention to this because that's definitely what you want to see. And then the way we capture this data, just so you have a good sense of how that actually works, is that we look at referrer data and we look at UTM source data. So we don't always know when people are coming from LLMs. A lot of that data will also show up in the direct channel in addition to the LLM attributable channel. But we do get some data from what we call the referrer, which is the previous page, which most browsers send for a lot of their visits. And we also see it in the URL. So essentially what we're doing here is tuning into that URL information when somebody visits, bringing that in, counting those pages up, showing them to you here so that you can see which pages are popular on LLMs and which pages aren't, or where do we maybe need more coverage in terms of the topics we're covering. That's it. And the Ércule app, if you're interested in trying this out on your own site, you can go to app.ércule.co, and it's free. Sign up for it, connect to Google Analytics, Google Search Console. It's really useful for very quickly exploring your data. That's it for today. Let me know what else you'd like to hear about, talk about, what might be interesting features for us to add, and we'll think about that for the next live stream. All right, thanks all. See ya.